you. New at 9. You know, the images coming in from the Bahamas, take a look. They are truly devastating. And many of you may want to help by sending money or by making donations online. But you really need to be very careful of avoiding scams. Joining us this morning, Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chugwood. He is joining us to talk more about this. Good morning to you, Sheriff. It's always good to see you. At a time like this, not so good to see you because you know this happens a lot, right? What are you seeing and what are some of the more common scams out there?
What we just saw before the hurricane hit was we had 2 elderly residents in DeBarry that were scammed. In one case, the people are in their 70s. One is legally blind. Folks show up and say it's 2 males and a female on a dark-colored pickup truck, newer pickup truck, and say they're from the city of DeBarry. They're there to test their tap water. And they get inside of the house and they steal assorted items. And as they're leaving, they ask their residents if they have change for a $100 bill, which turns out to be a counterfeit $100 bill.
Right. And one of the other things that I think we need to really pay attention to is a lot of times these people prey on who? The elderly.
The elderly.
Why is that? Is because they're more vulnerable, they live on their own? They're
more vulnerable. They don't have a lot of social interactions. There's somebody coming up and talking to them. And chances are they don't believe in banks. So they're going to have stuff laying around in the house. In the second incident, they got $25,000 in jewelry out of a woman's house, an 83-year-old woman. They were there telling her she needed her trees trimmed. She comes out of the house, 2 males, 1 male showing her what needs to be done. The other one goes in the back door and steals her jewelry. And we asked the neighbors to keep an eye out. And I always tell people, this is too good to be true. Nobody comes to your house out of kindness and says, oh, we're here to do whatever. It's not true.
Yeah. So how can people protect themselves then?
The first thing is call 911. If somebody shows up to your house uninvited, dial 911.
Don't do 311, dial 911.
Dial 911. Okay. In our case, we need to get there and get there quickly.
Sure.
Because it's a priority. The second thing is, if you have a contractor coming, check myflorida.com, myfloridalicense.com, I think it is. You can look up who the contractor is that you hired. And like I said, I can't preach it enough that people, they fall prey to these slick talking folks to tell you, we're here to do your trees, or you need a new air conditioner, you need a new roof. Hey, I didn't call you.
Yeah.
And the last thing is neighbors need to look out for their elderly neighbors.
How angry does it make you when you hear about stories like this, especially these kinds of stories that affect the disabled and the elderly and that kind of thing, especially who themselves are in their own time of need?
Furious, because what you got is parasites. They're scumbags. They're out there and they are targeting our elderly and our folks that have some type of a disability on purpose because they think it's an easy touch. And nothing says more about society than the way you treat your youngest crime victims and your oldest. Isn't
that the truth? I do want to ask you about this, too, in terms of making donations, because a lot of us do want to make donations. I know for me, sometimes I tend to follow my heart instead of my head because you want to do everything you can to help. What advice would you have for folks who do want to make donations? Should you donate goods? Should you donate money? That kind of thing. And how do you know where is the right place to donate to?
My suggestion is you go to the tried and true organizations, Red Cross, Salvation Army, and your churches. We have a lot of churches in our community that do a community outreach. They're in contact with pastors down in the Bahamas. They can tell you exactly what is needed. In our case, we have a deputy who's married to a Bahamian national whose mom and dad still reside there. So we got an email from the family saying, hey, this is what we need. And it was everything imaginable: medicines, clothing, everything, basic toiletries, everything you can imagine. So as a sheriff's office and as a county, we want to get together to get those needs, to get those things done. We know who the contact person is. So you really want to investigate because scammers are there. Go online, click here. And the other thing is, where does your donation go?
That's the big question, because a lot of people these days are so skeptical because they're thinking, I'm going to give $100, but it's not really going to go to help the Bahamas or to help whoever it is I want to help.
Exactly. That's why I said the churches and the tried and true charities is where you go, because that's what they do. That's what they're experts at, and follow the lead of the professionals.
Well, great advice, Sheriff Mike Chugwood. Always great to have you.
Always a pleasure, Danielle.
Thank you so much. Good to see you as always. All right, Amy, let's turn things over to you now.